So the question has been asked, an Islamic one, by a Muslim, calm down, it's not that, in which they ask here in The Guardian, Britain used to ask Muslims to move here, what happened to us? That's the Islamic question asked by the author here, Diana. Well, Diana here wants to ask the question, essentially, just what happened? Why everyone hate the Muslims now is her perspective on this. As she has a little still at the front there, or an image, that says it's a still from Muslims in Britain, series of videos, with it being from the British Film Institute, trying to advertise Muslims to come to Britain at the time. And, well, you can go and track down the video she referenced, because I thought, well, I might as well do it. And so I cut together a little clip. It's all in Arabic, so I can't translate that. But I think some of the themes in here are revealing as to what has changed, or at least what we can visibly see has changed in this example. So I suppose we shall start off with a clip from what she's referencing.
الله أكبر على هذا الدين الحنيف الذي نزل على محمد فملأ الدنيا خيرا ونورا.
سلام الله عليكم من لندن عاصمة المملكة المتحدة.
مثلا دور السينما تعد بالمئات وتشوف فيها شتى أنواع الأفلام. أيضا تكاد تكون في مجتمع دولي يشوف الفيلم الإيطالي أو الفيلم السويدي أو الفيلم الأمريكي أو حتى الفيلم العربي. فهذه بوادر طيبة أن تنقل نفسك في مدينة واحدة وأنت في عالم كامل في حد ذاته.
في جامعة لندن مدرسة خاصة بالدراسات الإفريقية والشرقية.
So for people listening, and the reason I did that is because you can see the fact that, okay, this is London in whatever year that was filmed, and they show loads of Muslim men.
In the early 1960s, by the looks of it.
There you have it. Loads of Muslim men in England, in their suits, looking like average people.
Looking quite respectable, in fact, surrounded by a location that looks almost English.
Yes,
even.
They show you shots of London, of the cinemas, a local university there, in which everything just looks English, people look English, culture looks English.
Yeah, if London still looked like that, I'd be more than happy to go there more often.
The Muslim men featured, as you say, look respectable and have integrated. Literally, they're wearing the suits, as expected. And, well, they have the only Islamic thing in there being the opening shot of a mosque, presumably in London, in which they have a guy going Allahu Akbar over the background, to obviously advertise that your faith will be respected here, you can practice it, but look around, everyone's
Seems
English.
like very much simpler times, doesn't it?
Yeah, something to keep in mind as she describes what happened, in her view. So, let's go back to the Guardian article here, in which she starts off, in a current climate of Islamophobia, stupid term, I wondered how many British people are aware of a series of films made in the early 1960s, which are expressly designed to encourage people from Arab countries to come to Britain to work and study. The 4 films, all in Arabic, were made on behalf of the Foreign Office and all begin with a mosque skyline and melodic chants of Allahu Akbar, the start of the Muslim call to prayer. They are unapologetically religious, eager to show Arab-speaking Muslims how welcoming Britain is, how Islamic institutions exist in Britain to cater to their cultural and religious traditions as a friendly home from home. And saw some of that. I mean, yeah, the mosques are there. You can go there, do their thing. But the idea that they were out and about screaming Allahu Akbar, Sharia now, I didn't get that impression. I mean, I can't speak Arabic, but...
Same. Can I also point out that it's very interesting that even in this article that she's pointing out a friendly home from home, indicating that this is not their dedicated home, this is just some place that they're coming to. Interestingly, how after over 60 years, it still seems to be the case, even for people born here.
Yeah, the integration aspect has not gone brilliantly. And she continues, the presenter cuts to the mayor of Cardiff later on to ask how the Muslim community has integrated. Very well, she replies. They are an integral part of the city. They are accepted as friends amongst the rest of the community. And there's the image there. And you can see him in his suit, the Egyptian presenter, looking like everyone else as well. That's the point. They've integrated very well. And they show us an image of, well, him in his suit looking like a normal human being instead of, I don't know, dressed for the mountains of Pakistan, for example, or screaming about Sharia. In London, the presenter does a tour of the city's universities, including SOAS and the London School of Economics, where an Iraqi student marvels that his experience is like living in an international society, he says. That's amazing. I mean, think about that. In the early 1960s, people coming to the UK to study were able to describe where they were as an international society. And the reason that's so important, because if we go to the next link here, this is a premium hangout I did with Carl, in which we just looked at footage of London through the decades and compared it to the census data.
Yep.
And the results showed that the mass migration and mass demographic change in the UK is extremely recent. It was not significant up until like the 1990s, 2000s. I mean, now we're looking at about 25% of the population of these isles being foreign born.
Yeah, I wonder if those dates coincide with any particular administration.
But it's also the point that that Iraqi student there, he was not looking at a mass era of foreign-born people living around him, and yet he was able to live, as he described it, in international society. Huh. Strange. It's almost like you don't have to have those things to have parts of the world around you. But if we go to the next one, we go back to the article. The films were designed solely for showing abroad and were probably never seen in the UK at the time. The reason I know about them is because a Syrian cotton merchant I interviewed in Manchester sent me the link to them. I watched them as part of the research for my book about the textile merchant from Homs who came to Bradford in the early 1980s as an economic migrant, brought a failing mill and brought up a global trade in breadcloth, while other Yorkshire mills closed down. Yet, despite such success stories today, more than a third of the UK population believes Islam is a threat to the British way of life.
Okay, so she brings up one or two anecdotal success stories and then ignores everything else.
I don't know. It's Muslims come to Britain and keep setting up cotton mills, and people just hate the cotton mills. They can't stand the cotton mills. They're fearful of the cotton mill success.
Man, can you imagine what they're doing to our sheep?
Yes, it is the cotton that people are very afraid of. That is the only thing. Do not look further. Do not ask questions.
Do not ask questions, only consume immigrant.
Do not inquire as to what might else be going on, except that, I don't know, British people just hate cotton mills. Half of Brexit voters in 2016's referendum, by nearly half of Conservative voters in the 2017 election, also said that Islam was not compatible with Britishness. Presumably because of the cotton mills.
It's the only explanation.
Yeah, just we keep seeing those cotton mills being set up, and we're just like,
cotton's
that's not about.
It's just so itchy on my British skin.
It's ridiculous. So they say, what went so wrong? If you had a thought yourself, well, what conclusion did this person come to? It would be easy to lay the blame solely at the door of ISIS.
Yeah, we might have had a few terrorist attacks here or there, but think of the cotton mills, guys.
The Islamic State. Yeah, I suppose it would be kind of easy to say that the Islamic State, enacting Islamic law, made people quite fearful of Islam in the period that it was about, and still kind of is as well. It's not exactly disappeared, has it? And, well, yeah, okay, that was in Syria, wasn't it? There's nothing else going on here, don't worry about that. But the hostile environment, directly after she writes this, the hostile environment presided over by Theresa May and David Cameron since 2010, years before ISIS declared its caliphate in Raqqa in 2014, also has much to answer for.
Before 2014, nothing happened.
Nothing
Whatsoever.
No, so it's I'm just dumbfounded at how someone is just so obviously lying to the public, as you can see here. Just well, she knows that there's a lot of terrorism and other reasons why people are a bit upset with the Islamic world as compared to South America, for example. When then she goes on to say that it's the British government did this. The British government made people fearful of Islam. How did they do that? Because of immigration policy.
Yep. In a situation like this, it is very clear that you can tell a lot of someone's intentions by the information they leave out.
Yes. If the British government's policy since 2010 had been to create an inclusive, multicultural society rather than a hostile, nationalistic one, many of today's political and societal dilemmas might have been avoided. I mean, I can't get over the gall of this individual. Like, they know, they must know of all the problems we've had. And they're like, yes, but if only you were more inclusive.
If we had more Muslims, if we had more Islamists, this would be fine.
The more Islam, the better.
Yes.
More Islam, world more good. Perfect system. And,
Graph go up, mean good.
Yes, and if you ever upset about Islamization, well, that's just government policy not telling you to be diverse enough. Instead, the government must be further locking up people for pointing out reality. I also love that she says, Theresa May. Theresa, my favourite Quran May, is the one that she thinks is being anti-Muslim.
Wait, did she say... Did she say... Oh, God.
I don't... Have you ever seen this?
I wasn't paying attention to a lot of stuff around this time, so I must have missed this one.
Yeah, this is a Conservative Party conference in which the Home Secretary, Theresa May, at the point, stood up and gave a speech about her favourite quotes from the Quran.
Oh, wait, no, I do remember... I do remember this now.
The best part of this is when she says Islamic State aren't Islamic.
Oh, I'll just take it. Yeah, go on.
Yep, and they're not a state, and nothing they do has any basis within the Quran. That's Theresa May's opinion on Islam. And yeah, her hostile policy is what made people fearful of Islam, not anything else.
I can only imagine she had some kind of advisors feeding her like choice lines from the Quran. She's not actually read it herself.
Oh, God, no.
Of course not.
I mean, I remember Tony Blair used to say he kept it next to his nightstand for late night reading. It was just like, no, you didn't. Like, what are you talking about?
It would explain a lot, but you know.
But there we go. Go and have a watch of that in your own time, because it is amazing to just see how like perverted our conservatives are in that regard. If we go to the next one, we can also see the other claim of this that I've seen previously. As you can see, some verified checkmark here being like, yes, in Sweden, they don't like Muslims. People have a negative view of Islam in Sweden.
I wonder why.
Just give us a reason. How Muslims/immigrants and refugees have been systemically treated in Sweden and Europe. Yeah, you know Sweden, famously Islamophobic country.
Well, I mean, all you need...
Not very welcoming.
If you just want examples of this, just go back a few weeks ago when John and I covered the Ramadan riots of peace that were going on in Sweden and parts of Scandinavia.
But, I mean, Sweden is the international meme in this regard. I mean, ja,
Sadly.
Sverige, yes, Sweden. You know, Captain Sweden turns up and goes, oh, so tolerant. You know, the meme has always been that the Swedes will accept literally anyone, apparently. And no matter how bad things get, they'll just say it's okay. I mean, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember the rape bans they wanted to hand out to girls?
I think so, yeah. What were the circumstances of those?
Little armbands to be had on there that say that it's illegal to rape in Swedish.
Just to remind people.
Strangely enough, the Somali chaps couldn't read Swedish, so it didn't work. That was the only fault.
But if they'd been able to read it, then they would have known.
They would. Oh, sorry, ma'am.
Oh, God, I didn't realise.
Woof.
You know, where I'm from.
Whole other circumstance. But I thought we'd just go through, just in case Diana's watching. Hello, dunce, liar, Islamo-leftist. I don't know what to call you.
Diana Dunce.
Yeah, and we'll go forward and just look at the major terrorist attacks, just the major ones, leading up to ISIS in the UK. So we have 7/7, of course, blowing up the double-decker bus there. If we go to the next one, we have, I believe this is in Glasgow, the airport attacks, in which a guy drove his car in there.
Was this also the one where the guy kicked a man in the balls so hard he broke his foot?
I can't remember. I think I might have been the claim at the time.
Good man. Good man.
We go to the next one. We have the MP who got stabbed by someone working for Al-Qaeda. Fantastic. Wonderful. That's Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula as well. So there's not only David Amos who has been attacked this way. We go to the next one. We have Lee Rigby. Just innocent boy on his way home and gets chopped up by two guys. And then the two guys, for people who don't know, stood around on camera.
Filming it the whole time?
Yeah, well, someone else was filming them. But they stood around for the camera and were just as calm as anything, covered in blood, explaining to locals, just, well, look, he's a British soldier. He went to Muslim land, so we've got to kill him. Look, here's 20-odd reasons in the Quran why I have to do it. And
none of which were recited by Theresa May, of course.
No, they also had nothing to do with Islam. And if we go to the next list here, this is just a Wikipedia list of every terrorist incident in the UK, successful or otherwise. And as you can see, and it goes on quite a bit.
There's a
modern
few.
Era. Yeah, I mean, there's the occasional IRA attack. They've sort of dropped off completely, though, and instead you get Allahu Akbar.
Well, they know they can just sort of fob it off on the Islamists now, can't they?
Yeah, but you might say terrorism isn't a everyday event anymore. If we go to the next one, we can see here some other everyday events, however, which is, as you see from David here, 8 men from Rochdale had to be put on trial for sexual abuse of girls between 12 and 16 between 2002 and 2006. Who do they include? Mohammed Iqbal, Mohammed Ghani, Jan Sahad Ghani, Ali Raza, Hussein Kazmi, Mohammed Ghani, there's another Mohammed Ghani there, Issa Hussein, Ikhlid Yusuf, Martin Rhodes, beautiful British name, and Aftar Khan.
I mean, I've just got to say that Martin must have been the ringleader.
I presume
he must have brought these innocent men down a very dark path.
Yeah, he's clearly misled them on what the Quran truly teaches as well. And of course, if you go to the next link here, we can see the first Muslim lord in all of British history. Yeah, for Rotherham, who was done for child sex offences. I, for one, am shook. Let's keep going. Let's go to Batley Grammar School, of course, as well. You may remember this. This clip really annoyed me, looking back at it, because as you can see there, you have Inayef, who makes the point that free speech is important.
Yes.
Maybe we should believe in that and reject Islamification. And one of the co-hosts starts sweating
Really? I don't think I've seen this clip.
We won't have time to play it, but I just remember, I think it's Rebecca or something in the middle there who just starts sweating and is like, whoa, hang on.
Wait. Where are we going with this? Where are we going with this?
And Anaya is just very calmly like, yeah, and what? Like, I don't care. She actually believes in something. And then we have the cultural domination aspects as well. This is an example here from Active Patriot, who has been denounced as some kind of dissident by certain groups. And as you can see here, this is in Trafalgar Square, in which Muslims were breaking their fast for Ramadan and were praying and shrieking Allahu Akbar over the loudspeakers, of course, in Trafalgar Square, with Nelson's column right there, which, yeah, this is normal. This is very British.
London's just colonised at this point.
Just London?
Well, I was trying to be optimistic, you know.
And of course, this isn't a judgment on the people there, which is, quite frankly, if you were them, what's stopping you and why would you stop? You just live your life as you do and instead be different. If we go forward, we can go to Birmingham here. There's some of John's postings. This is Birmingham 2022. John writes there. And yeah, I mean, I ain't going to be rude, but there's not the most British of dress sense for one thing, if nothing else.
Unless we've started wearing robes and dresses.
Yeah, we're all dressed.
Was it just a load of Star Wars nerds out that day? It was just a coincidence.
Okay, let's go to the next one as well, in which we can see this is Birmingham continued here. I don't know what this was. I don't know when this was. But it's just, again, the point of this. Sorry, John? This was Eid. But it's just the point of this is normal. This is the norm. I remember back when we looked at Birmingham previously, it was Pakistani Independence Day. And there was a rally this big again.
I mean, I was in Birmingham, I think actually this time last year. Me and a friend went to a guitar store just to go check some stuff out. We were driving out of the city. It was just the middle of a day. And all of a sudden we come up to loads of traffic and was like, what's going on? Because it's just some random Tuesday. Why would Birmingham be this busy? And then we look ahead and find at the centre of the junction that we're coming up to, a load of cars have all emerged and sort of parked right in the middle of it in a T formation, and a bunch of guys jump out of the car waving Palestine flags.
Beautiful British things.
Yes.
I mean, this is the aspect, which is the integration is not as was described in the 60s as marvellous, or whatever that lady from Glasgow said, but instead people are not walking around in suits, acting as the rest, and being not really noticed because of how integrated they are, being very much noticed because it's not the same.
Well, they're not having to integrate here, are they?
No. Presumably just because of the pure numbers, if nothing else here as well.
Oh, that was very responsible. I'll just hold a firework in my hand in the middle of the street and just set that off.
Yeah. We'll move forward. We'll also go to the Christian response to all this, which is just amazing. We have here, this is Iftar, so the end of the fast at Coventry Cathedral. Except you notice 404 not found. They deleted this. Coventry Cathedral. There's a cached version. Let's go to the next one to have the text from that because we don't have the images. On Monday, June 20th, we were honoured to host Iftar, the meal breaking the fast at the end of the day during Ramadan at Coventry Cathedral. It was a wonderful evening and a chance to spend time sharing together with our Muslim brothers and sisters during their holy month, learning from them about spiritual discipline during Ramadan. And then they have a picture of an Imam Usman Qureshi, which... What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm not even religious, but surely this should amount to a betrayal. I mean, an actual betrayal. They've got enough mosques in places like Birmingham and all over the place.
It's an obvious just condemnation of how irreligious our Christians seem to be, which is that we're learning spirituality from our brothers and sisters here.
It's disgusting. They've seemed to have internalized this whole idea that Christianity evil because Christians did bad things in the past, and they go, oh, well, we can't be Christian in that case. Not really.
No, like, I hate to be Christian on you because I'm not a Christian, but what's wrong with you in this respect, which is that maybe you should be instead focusing on your religion and not the infidel?
Well, I think this is interesting because, you know, you and I aren't Christian, but I think we can both agree that the civilization that has brought us up has Christian values, and those are the sorts of values that you and I have been brought up to believe in. And then all of a sudden you see the actual institution that those originate from, the church.
It's got Christian painting on it now.
Yes. Bowing down to a foreign institution. It's disgusting.
Say here, learning to live with difference and celebrate diversity is one of the cornerstones of the community of the Cross of Nails. We are truly believing in that events like this help us in this journey. We differ in our theological views. I don't know how, frankly. I don't know if you have any. But this should not stop us from meeting with one another, sharing food together, and learning about the beliefs of others. Which, again, what? Like, surely if you're a Christian, you're trying to propagate your faith, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, generally speaking, religious sects haven't been the most enthusiastic about religious diversity in history.
I don't have enough time to spend on this, but I think the point is made clear about the fact of just what on earth are you doing as Christians, which I'm not even, but the non-believers of the world are all looking at you and like, why do you even exist anymore, frankly? And if we go forward, we can see some other examples of this. We can see this. This is another cathedral that had a load of people in for Iftar, of course. And if we move forward, we can go to St. Paul's. That was also a couple of years ago. Had Sadiq Khan turn up with a congregation of Christians wearing the headscarves. I love the lady in the front there, the female bishop, presumably the one who's trying to block Calvin Robertson from being able to propagate Christ, instead celebrating diversity and inclusion, I'm sure she'll put it. And as we go for the last one here, this is just the funny story of the Christian response to Islam. Christians offer to cover up crosses and pictures of Jesus for Muslims to celebrate Ramadan in their church. Of course. I mean, Jesus is meant to be a prophet in Islam as well, which makes it even weirder.
Yeah. Also, so you believe in God. You believe that worship of God is a good thing and will help you to get through the heavenly gates. Here, let me just cover up all of our objects of worship and just allow someone else to bow. I'll just bow down to somebody else's God. My God's going to be thrilled at that.
It's insane, but it's the aspect that we are not going to be defended in resisting Islamization by the church here. That's not happening at all.
No.
But again, just to answer the question of Diana there, which is why is it that the British public don't seem to view Islam in a favourable light anymore? I don't know, look at the Wikipedia list I gave you. Maybe if that nothing else will help you. There we have it. That's the reason. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as this premium video from Carl, The Secrets of Rousseau. And if you want to find out what else Carl's putting out, you can follow him on Getter at Carl Benjamin on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.